Welcome and good afternoon, esteemed business owners and attendees. We're thrilled to have you join us today for the inaugural episode of our webinar series, Episode 1, the Certification Application Process. Before we dive into today's session, it's my pleasure to introduce our distinguished Assistant Superintendent of the Office of Education and Economic Access, Dr. Linda Amica Roberts.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Linda Amica Roberts, as Ms. Chardone says, and it is our goal here at the Office of Education and Economic Access to enhance educational opportunities and provide economic support to businesses that fall in small, micro, minority, veteran business enterprises. By becoming a certified firm, we will help promote equitable access to goods and services and to provide programs that support workforce development. This webinar episode will walk you through the process. We will work with you to complete your certification application. At this time, I will hand it over to the certification team to introduce themselves.
Good afternoon, Eric Bryant, Director of Certification.
Good afternoon, Stephanie Gorey, Director.
Good afternoon, Henry Nanigat, Visual Communications.
And good afternoon, I'm Elizabeth Chardone, Director of the Office of Education and Economic Access. So before we begin, please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on our website at oeea.dadeschools.net for you to return to and review and use as a guide during your certification application process. Next slide. So first and foremost, a little bit about us. Miami-Dade County Public Schools is the third largest school district in the United States and an A-rated district for 4 years in a row. We're comprised of approximately 400 schools. There's approximately 345,000 students and over 40,000 employees. So the school district stretches over 2,000 square miles of diverse and vibrant communities. The school system represents over 160 countries with 56 different languages. The Procurement Management Services Department seeks to purchase goods and services for the School Board of Miami-Dade County, Florida, which includes supplies, materials, commodities, and services for over 300 schools and various administrative locations. So M-DCPS has an estimated annual spend of over $500 million per year in goods and services. Next. So let's start off with talking a little bit about the certification M-DCPS certifies. Any small or micro business, veteran business enterprises, and minority women business enterprises. These are some of the categories that you could fall under as a small business in order to become certified with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Next. So what are the eligibilities of becoming certified? You need to be independently owned and operated. You must have an actual place of business in the metropolitan statistical area, which includes Miami-Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County. You have to have at least 1 year in operation, local business tax receipts and all required licenses, including required professional licenses. A business owner is a person born in the United States, naturalized in the United States, or a permanent U.S. resident. You must employ 200 or fewer permanent full-time employees, 51% control and ownership, and you must have a net worth of $5 million or less. Next. So what are the benefits of being certified with Miami-Dade County? So first, you will be able to get a first-tier referral to other departments. You'll also be able to get prominent listing in our online directory of certified firms and printed directories. Keep in mind that in order to be in the directory, all the schools in Miami-Dade County and district offices view this directory. So you would be on that specific directory for more promoting. You'll be able to be in a sheltered market opportunities for certified firms to compete for school district contracts, mandatory subcontracting opportunities with prime vendors, notice of upcoming contracting opportunities, And all certified firms will be listed in our business directory, as I stated, which will be across all schools and district offices for purchasing. So you'll be advertised throughout all the schools and the district offices as well. Next. And now, without further ado, I am going to introduce you to our next presenter, Ms. Stephanie Gorey, who is going to be going over the certification thresholds.
Good afternoon again, everyone. The certification threshold chart is what the certification team used to review and process applications. This chart is divided into 4 sections: industry, micro business enterprise program, small business enterprise program, minority women and veteran business program. Eligibility is based on the company's gross revenue averaged over a 3-year period. Please note, if you have not been in business for 3 years, you would submit your taxes based on how many years you have been in business. However, you must be in business for a year. When we take a look at the chart, you're going to notice that there are 2 tiers in the micro small business enterprise program. In the MBE tier 1, the gross average could be less than $300,000. And you will notice that in all of the 4 industries, professional services, architect, engineer, professional service, non-AE, goods and services, and construction related specialty trades. In tier 2, the highest amount cannot be or can be less than 1 million. In the SBE tier 1, it'd be less than 1 million. And you will notice that in the professional services AE, and the highest in tier 2 is in construction and construction related specialty, which is $6 million. You cannot exceed that amount to be eligible for the program. In our minority women business enterprise, it is based on the ethnicity, and the eligible groups that fall under that program is African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Native American, non-minority women. And the net worth will be of 5 million or less. Our veteran business enterprise program can be any veteran of the armed services may apply, but they must have 51% ownership and be controlled by a veteran. As a required document, they must submit a copy of the DD 214 form, which is issued by the United States Department of Defense. Later in this presentation, Mr. Bryant will provide additional information when he walks you through the steps on how to complete the online certification application. Next. The moment you've been waiting for, the 3 steps to become certified with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Step number 1, you have to register your business with the Miami-Dade County Public Schools Procurement Management Services on the vendor application at the link that's below. There is an example that's below that says the information that you would have to submit to have your application process. Step number 2 is completing your certification application electronically, which is on the link that's listed, Miami-Dade School Diversity.compliance.com. And there you will have to submit the various documents. As you can see, this is a picture of once you click on to that page, that will be the place where you will log in. At this time, next for our next presenter.
Thank you, Ms. Gorey. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Bryant, Director of Certification with the Office of Education and Economic Access. I have the pleasure of being your host, walking you through the certification application. The three goals that I have for today, number one is to provide hands-on assistance with the certification application. Number two will be to enhance your knowledge of the certification application. And number three, the goal is to increase the availability of ready, willing, and able firms with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. As a roadmap, the first thing we'll do is talk about the vendor application. Number two, we will go over how to create an account in the supply diversity system. And then number three, I'll give a step-by-step overview of the certification application. There will be opportunity for 3 breaks where we'll do Q&A. The first one will be after section 1 through 3. The second one will be after section 4, and then the last one will be after the document list. If you have questions, please put them into the chat. And then when we break for those Q&As, we'll go through the chat and answer those questions for you. So let me start by sharing my screen here. Okay. And then we will start with the vendor application. All right, so this is our procurement.dadeschools.net website. It is procurement 2. If you go here at the top where it says vendors, and then go to vendor application, vendor information and forms, and then vendor application. So this is our Miami-Dade County Public Schools procurement application. There are 4 pages, and you have to complete each page. And then there's additional documents that you have to attach to the application. The first document is the certification of compliance. Also, there is a W-9 that needs to be filled out by your company. And then there is a screenshot of your Florida SunBiz account, your local business tax receipt. And then there's 2 additional documents that was just added to the application. The first one is the foreign country of concern. And then lastly, there's a vendor affidavit regarding the use of coercion for labor and services. The good thing about our vendor application is once you complete everything and you share it with our office, someone in our office and the certification team, we can send it to the procurement processor, which is Ms. LaShane Faison, and ask her to expedite that for you, which will probably be processed within 3 to 5 days. We get a lot of vendor applications, so I guarantee that 3 to 5 days is a quick turnaround for the district. So this is the vendor application. Again, the website is procurement2.dadeschools.net. And if you have any questions about the application or need assistance, you can always reach out to our office and we can guide you through the application. Okay. So this is the website for our certification application. So once you have your vendor number, once you complete the vendor application, you get a vendor number, and the vendor number is a 7-digit number that starts with a 6. And then you use that vendor number just like it will be like an EIN number or a license plate number within the district. That's how we identify your company, as well as that's what the number we use when you're doing a PO or getting paid by our schools. We look you up according to your vendor number. Once you have the vendor number, the second step is the online certification application. The website here is miami-dade-schools.diversitycompliance.com. And then I'm going to do 2 examples here. So once you get to this website, we're going to go to account lookup. And then I'm going to show you one example of what it looks like if you've already created an account in the system. And then secondly, I'm going to show you an example of where you have to go in and create an account to log into the system. So the first one, this is going to be an account that's already created. So 65103. I'm just putting the EIN identification number here. And then I'm going to go to search. And then, so this one actually, let me go back. I think I put the wrong number. Let's try it again. It is 651037994. Okay. Well, let's try a different number. 462935349. And so this is just putting your EIN number here. All right, so this is the example of a company that's already created. They already have an account in the system. As you can see here, it says Saul Signs Master Incorporated. And then I'm just going to click on one of the registered users. And then you see his name here, Brian at saulsigns.com. So this is going to be the username. And then whichever password that he created, if you forget your password, you can always do reset password, and the system will send you a temporary password in the system. But what you would do is, if you've already created an account, this is what your screen would show. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. And then I will exit out of here and just go to the login and then put the username and password, and then you'll be able to access the system. On the other hand, if you don't have an account already, here's what typically you'll see on the screen. So let me go back here. And then this is the one that doesn't have an account yet, 1037994. And then I go to search. I'm just putting the EIN number in here. And then this is the screen that you'll see if you don't have an account. This means that you do have to create a username and password in the system to be able to access the online application. So I don't have an account. The next thing I'll do here is go to apply for renew certification. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to create account. And so I'll put the EIN number in again, and then I'll have to complete section 2, section 3, and section 4. Again, your username is going to be your email address, and then whichever password you create. I do recommend putting the password and username in somewhere that you're going to remember, because the certification is good for 3 years. So every 3 years, you'll have to go back to the system and renew the certification. Or if you want to make any changes to your application, you log back into the diversity compliance system. I recommend having that username and password in a safe place. So I've already created an account, and then I'm going to go ahead and log into the system. And if you create an account in the system, let me delete this. This is an application I worked on before. If you create an account in the system for the first time, then it automatically takes you to this page. And then I'm going to go to the home page. Okay, so once I'm on the home page, at the top right, it says key actions. And I'm going to make sure I click on renew, apply for certification. Okay, so we're going to go here. And then this tells you at the top a little bit about our supplier diversity program. As Ms. Gorey stated, we have a small, micro, and minority, as well as veteran business enterprise program. And so this is just giving you a little example of what our program is. And then at the bottom is where we're going to start. So the second option, your firm not currently certified by M-DCPS. And then you're going to say that your firm is located in Florida. So I'm just clicking away here. And then your firm is located in Miami-Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach County. And then, so this is a place where a lot of people get confused with our application. The first option says your firm currently micro, minority women, SBE, recognized by a recognized agency. This application applies if you're applying for our interlocal certification program. We won't discuss that today. We're actually going to have another webinar to speak to this application. But today we're just going to focus on the new certification application. And to get to that one, we're going to click on the second option, your firm not currently MBE, MWBE by a recognized agency. And then we're going to click on submit a application, a new application. Okay, so this is the next page. This has the company and contact information. It's very important here that your company name is correct, because this is the company name that's going to be attached to your certification profile. And so you want to make sure it's correct here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the company name, make sure that your email address is correct, company email, and company type. I know a lot of companies are LLC, so that option is there. Joint venture is there, partnership, and so forth. So I'm going to say this one is an LLC. And then the next one is our eligibility requirements. So I always tell vendors that these are preliminary questions. I do recommend selecting yes for each one of these, even if it's no, because if you select no, it doesn't allow you to move forward and you won't be able to submit an application. And the reason I say this is once you submit the application to us, that's where we can assess the application. And if there's anything that we need you to correct, we'll do that once the application is submitted. But we're going to go ahead and select yes for each one of these. And then just so you know what it is, it says that your firm is a vendor with the district. Sometimes you may be at the time, sometimes you're not, but we just, like I said, we can always fill this in once the application is submitted. This is asking about a professional license, occupational license, and then also has your business been established for 1 year? So these are, like I said, all preliminary questions. I do recommend selecting yes for each one. So we're going to go ahead and select yes for each one of these and then hit continue. And then this one is saying check the box to continue. It's just saying that you have 60 days to complete the application. And then, so like today is October 28th. So 60 days from today will be December 27th. If you need extended time to complete the application, you can always reach out to our office. But if you don't complete it within those 60-day window, unfortunately, all your information will delete out of the system because it only gives you 60 days to complete the application. So you want to make sure you get it in before the 60 days, or if you need extended time, you reach out to us and we can extend the application on our side. So we're going to check the box to continue and then hit continue. And then this is the application. So we have section 1, section 2, section 3, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 5 section 4s, and then the document list. So after we complete section 2, or I believe it's section 3, that will be our first opportunity for a Q&A. So we'll do a Q&A at that point. And then after we finish section 4, the 5 sections of section 4, there'll be another Q&A. And then after the document list, we'll do a Q&A there as well. So let's get started. The first section is section certification information, business contact information, and then we'll go to fill in. Okay, so this is the first section here. It's going to ask for your company name. So you'll make sure your company name is correct here. If you have a DBA, you'll put the DBA in the boxes. As you can see, the sections that are in red are mandatory. And so you want to make sure you fill those out correctly. And then the ones that are in yellow are not mandatory. If you have it, you can fill it in. If not, it doesn't hold the application up. And so that vendor number you get once you complete the vendor application from procurement services is where you tap your vendor number in here, and then your address, mailing address. So the thing that we always want to pay attention to with the address is that it matches your Florida SunBiz account as well as your local business tax receipt. Those 3 things must match. And then also the mailing address. If you have the mailing address, if it's different from your primary address, you can go ahead and type that into this box. The next thing is the contact person. So the contact person is important because when we have bid opportunities or support meetings, you want to make sure that we have a point of contact that we can reach out to and share that information with. One of the things here that holds up the applications a lot is the title. So you can see each section needs to be filled in. So let's go ahead and put secretary here, or we can even put owner here. And so the title is a must. A lot of people leave the title blank and it holds up the application, or they can't figure out why they can't move forward. So you want to make sure that the title is filled out here. And then you have the majority owner. It can be the same as the contact person, or it can be different depending on the company. Office phone, business phone, as well as fax. If you have a fax, like I said, this isn't mandatory, it's in yellow, you can fill it out. If not, you can leave it blank here. And then the business cell phone. So The business cell phone, I want to emphasize this, is it's very important that you have a business cell phone here because our office wants to communicate with you via text, especially regarding your recertification application, regarding bid opportunities for your company that comes out from our procurement services. And then when we have support information events, we want to be able to text that to you. And so make sure your business cell phone is filled out correctly. And then your email address and your website. So once each one of these sections are filled out, the ones that are mandatory, again, make sure that your title was filled out here. Then you go ahead at the bottom and go to save and return to summary. So the next section is certification information, business profile. This speaks to the established date of the company. So a lot of times this is found on your Florida SunBiz account. So you want to make sure that's consistent there. Your EIN number, your IRS EIN number. This is the one that's also found on your tax returns. So it's found on your SunBiz and tax returns. So you want to make sure that's correct. The type of company, the date incorporated. A lot of times that's the same as your established date. Again, that's on Florida SunBiz, and then the state incorporated. You do have to be in the state of Florida to be eligible for our certification program. And then 2F speaks to a company as a franchise, subsidiary, or an affiliate of another company. This is something else we want to highlight. For our program, we want to make sure that the correct person is getting the benefit of the program, and that it is attached to the owner. So if your company is a franchise, subsidiary, or an affiliate of another company, then you won't be eligible for the certification. Like I said, it has to be independently owned. That was one of the eligibility requirements, and it is attached to the majority owner, the primary owner of the company. So that's important here. So if this is yes for you, then unfortunately you won't be eligible for our program. It does have to be independently owned. So that's going to be no for, hopefully it's no for you so you can move on. And then the type of business. So Ms. Gorey talked about our program, our industries in the earlier slide, but this is also recommended or mandatory for your application. So construction and specialty trades. So if you're doing painting, you're doing plumbing, you're doing electrical, that's going to fall under construction and specialty trades. Goods and services, professional services, AE, that means architect engineering. You do have to, it is required to have a professional license for that industry. And then non-AE is professional services, non-architect engineering. So if you're doing consulting services, tutoring services, if you're not selling goods, you're just providing a service, you're going to fall under professional services, non-AE. The next one is 2H, which requires you to give us an indication of the work performed or the products that you sell. So you can quickly do a one-liner on the type of services that you are looking to provide to the district. The next one is 2H1. These are your primary NIGP codes. And it's very important here that you understand what NIGP codes are. These are the codes that we use when we are setting goals for our small minority business, goals for our procurement or construction or maintenance contracts. So you want to make sure that your codes are correct. We also use the codes when we are sending requests for quotes to our schools. So if they give us a call and say that, do you have any vendors that sell furniture? We find your company in our business directory based on your NIGP codes. So it's very important. And then the NIGP codes are also going to be a requirement for your vendor application. So the ones that you use for your vendor application, you can also use them for your online certification application. And so I'm going to give you an example. Let's go ahead. And then it's also important here. So let's say that you have 7 NIGP codes. This application does allow for the 7, but what's important here is that you go ahead and put 1 code per line. So you can't put all codes on 1 line. And then I'm going to show you how to go ahead and insert the codes into the database, into the application. So I'm going to click on select code. And this is loading up. Let's go back. Okay, let's try this again. Select code. Okay, so let's say that my company provides painting services, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and click on painting, and then I'm gonna do search. And let's say that we focus on painting and wallpapering. So I'm gonna go ahead and click add. Okay. And then return. Okay. So as you can see, it does fill out in 91461, painting and wallpapering. But let's say I have additional codes. It's not mandatory to have additional codes. One code works fine, but let's say I want to add additional codes as well. And then let's say that I also, while I'm doing painting, I also can provide plumbing services. So I'm going to put plumbing, search, and then just plumbing here, 91468. I'm going to add, okay, return, okay. All right, and so forth. So if I have additional codes, again, you want to make sure that you do one code per line. That way the system recognizes it, and when it recognizes it, you'll see it in the box with the NIGP code that you selected. Okay, and you do have an opportunity to have 7 codes for this application. But if you need to add additional codes, once the application is processed by our office, we can always go back into the system and add those codes for you. The next thing is the number of employees. So based on our policy for full-time employees, you do need to have 200 or fewer employees. So let's say that I have 185 full-time. That's not a small business, that's a big business. But let's say I have 25 for full-time, 6 part-time, and then 0 for contract personnel. Again, this is one of those requirements that requires you to put an actual number in here. Let's say that I had this 0 contract personnel, and but I don't indicate that it's 0 there. This could hold up the application. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and put 0 into that box. The next is the principal owner, citizen of the U.S., and you want to say yes for this one. The principal owner does have to be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or be a naturalized person within the United States. So you want to go ahead and put yes for that. And then if no, principal owner, permanent lawful resident of the U.S., we also allow for that one as well. Indicate your minority designation. So again, minority designation is based off the ethnicity of the majority owner of the company. So let's say that I am an Asian American. So this is something that you can just copy and paste right into the box, right? And then again, the majority owner or the minority designation is connected to the majority owner of the company, 51% or more. This one speaks to 2L, the type of certifications that I'm applying for. I always recommend to just copy this line and put it into the box. Again, once you submit the application to us, that's when we can go in and determine the type of program that you're eligible for. And so that's the line that you want to put into that box. 2L1, if yes, specify the ethnic group and percent of ownership. Again, so we use Asian American for this example. So I'm going to go ahead and put Asian American here. And I'm going to say that the majority owner is 51% owned. Okay. And so that completes this one, 2L1. And then you're going to go ahead and put the gender status. And I'm going to put male here. Okay. So again, before we move forward, I just want to take you back to the NIGP codes. Very important that you put the correct codes here and that you do one code per line. That way the system recognizes it. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, save and return to summary. The good thing about this application in this system is that it's automatically saving, so you won't lose any information that you've put into previous sections. The next section we're going to go through is certification information history. So I'm going to fill in here, and this is one of the smaller sections. So it asks, does your firm's certification history with any other governmental agencies? If yes, you go ahead and put the agency in here. So let's say you have a certification with Miami-Dade County, and then the type SBE, and then so forth, the expiration date. But if the question is no, I'll go ahead and put no into this box and take these out. Okay. And then 2O, has your firm been denied certification? Hopefully that is a no. And so you're going to go ahead and put no for that. And then if there's a challenge as a small micro minority business, you go ahead and fill that out. But again, hopefully that's a no. You haven't been denied certification in the past. So we're going to click on no for both of these and then save and return to summary. All right. So section 3, ownership. And I think we're going to go ahead and break for our first Q&A. So I'm going to pass it back to my colleague, Mrs. Elizabeth Chardon, and then she will start us with our first Q&A.
So thank you, Eric, for that thorough explanation. So the only question I see that came up is how long is the application good for? Basically, you have up to 3 years with the certification application. So once you apply, you don't have to reapply for another 3 years. Mr. Bryant will be going over some more information as far as how that works if you graduate as a firm to another level. But for right now, once you apply, you have up to 3 years, and then you don't need to recertify until, we always recommend a month before your month that you're due on a 3rd year. So I don't see any other questions on the chat, Eric, unless you see any.
There is one more question from Javier, I see, and I'll go ahead and read it. I am currently unable to complete the application due to missing information for 2 projects. The reason for this is that we obtained our general contractor certification in August of this year, and as such, we do not have the necessary details for these projects which are required to complete the application. Thank you. Okay, Javier, I think the application that you are working on is our pre-qualification application that is separate from our certification application, the one that we are going over now. What we'll do is once we finish the webinar, I'll share your contact information with my colleague, Mrs. Christine Howard, and she can reach out to you and help you facilitate the process on the pre-qualification application. But it sounds like you're doing a pre-qualification application. And so most of the time when you're doing that application, you're looking to be a prime contractor. And so, like I said, Ms. Christine Howard will reach out to you about how you facilitate that process. We also recommend that you do the certification as well, because if you're not looking to be the prime contractor, we do have opportunities for subcontracting, and the subcontracting opportunities are attached to our subcontracting goals. We do have my mandatory subcontracting goals that is attached to your certification. So I recommend staying on and seeing how to complete the certification application as well. And you said we already sent an email but never received an answer. She's on right now, and we're going to reach out to you. I'm pretty sure that she'll reach out to you either right now or after this webinar is completed. So thank you for your questions.
And guys, if you're a vendor, if you could please, when you have an opportunity, go ahead and go into the chat and put in your contact name, email, and owner name so that we can reach out to you as well if you have any additional questions at the end of the webinar.
All right, and let's have more questions too. No question is a bad question. I'm going through a lot here, and I don't have any order in the office right now, but yeah, ask more questions. This is very interactive, and we want to make sure that you walk away with a good experience as far as working on the application with us. So, and then we'll have our next Q&A after we go through the section 4. So there's 5 sections in parts in section 4. So let me share my screen again, and we'll continue where we left off at. Okay. All right. So the next section is ownership. Okay. So this is for the majority owners of the company. I know sometimes companies are set up to where it's 50-50. It does have to be 51-49. Hope that math does add up to the 100%. And so this is where you go ahead and fill out the information for the majority owner. And then I'm going to just do an example here. So I'm going to use one of my good friends. His name's Junior Anderson. And then title here, I'm going to say that he is the president. And then gender is male, ethnic group African American. And then this is asking if he is a U.S. citizen. I'm going to go ahead and say yes for that. Is he an officer in the company, owner/partner? And date of ownership, like I said, the date of ownership is mostly tied to your Florida Sunbiz account. So you want to check that. For that, I'll just say 1996. And then I'm going to say that he is 51% owner. And then also that he has 51% voting percentage. Now, number of shares. If you have shares, perfect. That's good. I've been doing certification for about 6 years now. Not a lot of people have number of shares. So if you have shares, you can go ahead and input the shares as it pertains to the owners. But if you don't have shares, it's not required to have shares to do business with the district. So you can go ahead and put 0. Cost of shares, well, I'll put 0. And then I'll just put other for the type of shares. Like I said, this isn't required to do business with the district. So for all owners, you want to fill this out. Again, if he's 41%, however, the other 49% is divided up, you want to make sure that's entered into this space as well. And if you go here to add more lines to say to the page, it does allow you to add more lines depending on how your ownership is divided up. But this does apply to each owner. You want to make sure that it's filled all the way out across the line. So you want to have a name, title, gender, ethnic group, citizen, officer, owner, partner. All of these things have to be filled out in order for you to move forward. Okay. And then we're going to save and return to summary. All right. So the next one is going to start our 5 section 4s. We're almost at the finish line. But we do have to get through the rest of these sections. So the first section is control inventory. So we're going to go ahead and do fill in here. And so this speaks to your office space. What's important here is I know a lot of companies work from home. We do allow you to have a home-based office. But what we don't allow is a virtual office. I've been seeing a lot of companies that are moving towards a virtual office. We don't allow you to have a virtual office. But we do allow you to have a home-based office. What's important with the home-based office is that the address is on the Florida Sunbiz and also on your local business tax receipts. That's how we're going to verify the home office for you. So indicate your office space. You're going to go ahead and go yes here. And then you're going to type in your address. You're going to let us know if it's owned by the firm or leased by the firm, owned by the owner, or leased by the owner. We're going to say leased by the owner. And then your current value or property. If you're leasing it, you can do your current value or your lease or what you're paying per month. I know rent is very high, so it's probably around this, like $2,800. I know it's very high, it's outrageous, but that's our economy now. So, and so you want to make sure that's filled out all the way across the board. So you have your address, you're going to let us know if it's owned by the firm, leased by the firm, and so forth, and also an estimate of your current value of the property. Number of years at the current location. So let's say we've been there for 7 years. And then let's say that we are renting the space. We don't own it. So I'm going to say that my landlord, I'm going to say that his name is Ed Stokes. And then this is the address and so forth. So that's how you complete that section. And then your firm's storage space. So if you have storage space, perfect. Go ahead and fill it out. But I know a lot of people don't have a storage space in addition to where their office space is. So you can just go ahead and put none for that. But if it's yes for your company, you can go ahead and fill it out. Again, make sure it's all the way across the board. Okay. So that's how we're going to do the control and inventory. and then we're going to go ahead and save and return to summary. All right, moving forward, the next one is licenses and contracts. So this is important if you are a general contractor, an engineer, architect. Those areas require you to have a license with the state of Florida. So you want to go ahead and fill that out. You'll put the license holder name, Eric Bryant. Type of license, I'm going to say that I am a GC, general contractor. And then the expiration date. It does have to have a valid expiration date. So you want to make sure it's current. You know, all your tests are good. And so you do need a valid expiration date. We will make sure that is a part of the application, especially if you fall under one of those areas under the construction and specialty trades. You'll put your license number here and then the state where you are holding the license. Okay. I just want to highlight here, in terms of the license holder of the company, if you are construction and specialty trades, the majority owner, the license needs to be attached to the majority owner. I can't tell you how many times there is a owner or a person that's a part of the company that's not the majority owner that holds the license. According to our policy, the license holder needs to be the majority of the owner of the company as well. Okay. And so that's how you complete this section. We're going to go ahead and then save and return to summary. Okay. And then we have 1, 2, 3, about 5 sections left. So we're almost there. Let's keep going forward. The next one is management personnel. And so, yeah, this is one of my favorite sections. So let's just say that I'm the only owner of the company. I'm 100% owned. Let me show you a trick here. So I'm going to fill it out accordingly. Eric Bryant. No, let's do someone else. I don't want to do Eric Bryant. Let's do that. My name is Linda Roberts. And then let's say that I am the president and I am, for some, yep, they have black here, not African American, but I'm black here. And then female, and I am 100% owner. And then the frequency for this. So as you can see at the top, this speaks to the duties of the owners, the directors, managers. I know it can be different depending on the company, but let's say that the same person, I know that we're dealing with a lot of small micro-owned businesses, and there's only sometimes one person in the company. So let's just say for this case, I'm the only person that's handling all of the duties. I have a lot of stress going on, but I'm taking care of it. And so I'm going to go ahead and complete it with my first name, my title, my ethnicity, and then I'm going to do my gender, the percent of ownership, and always. So there is 13 different sections here, but let's say that I'm the same person that does everything. This little line right here will save you a lot of time. I guarantee it. So you're going to click on it. It says copy records in section 1 to sections 2 to 13. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. And then there's going to be some magic here. Wait a second. Maybe not. It's loading up. Okay. All right. All right. So for some reason it wants to take a while. Let's go out. If that happens to you, you can always go back and then go back in. And then we were at the management personnel. So there it is. It's saved. You see, you don't have to fill out each one individually. I copied all the records from section 1 to 2 to 13, and this is what you got. You see that green, which is good. You completed the section. But let's say that I do have, so let's exit out of here. Well, let's try to reverse this. Let's see how we can do that. Fill in. All right, but let's say that instead of Linda Amica Roberts doing all of the duties and ownership or the duties in the company, that I have other members that are doing other things. So let's say that Amica sets the policy for the company, but then I have, let's say, Treska Rogers. She does the bidding and estimating, and she's a president as well. And then let's see if this generates differently. Okay. And so if there's a different person, depending on the type of duty, then you can go ahead and fill out each section. It is pretty expansive, but like I said, as long as you fill out each section, so the name, title, ethnicity, and so forth, the system will accept it, and you'll be able to be done with this this section. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and move forward. Save and return to summary. All right, moving along. The next one is operation control. This is pretty similar to the previous duties of the owners. So let's say again, we're just gonna go, let's say my name is Elizabeth Chardon, and that's with one T, not two. And then position is director, not directory. And then I'm going to say that I am Native American. And then gender is going to be female. And then owner, yes. Again, the lucky or the magic tab here is copy records in section 1 to sections 2 to 5, 2 to 15, I'm sorry. And then this goes ahead and auto-populate it according to the first section. Okay? So do whatever you do once you get to this section, do not forget that you can copy the records from section 1 all the way to 2 to 15. That way you're not filling out each section. Now, if you have to go ahead and fill out each section, then that option is available as well. So we're going to save and return to summary. And then the next section is financial information and then document lists. And we will be at the finish line once we get there. Okay, so my colleague Elizabeth Chardon spoke about the eligibility, and that includes tax documents. If your company has been existing for more than 3 years, we do require 3 years of business tax returns. And so how you fill out this section, so let's say the last 3 years is 23, 22, and 21. And then your gross revenues, we look at your gross receipts. So on that page that has the form number, so let's say you're doing form 1120, there's a line that says gross receipts. So you're going to go ahead and type that in. Let's say I made 800,000 last year. And then, so the percent of revenue in the public sector, this speaks to any money the company has made from the public sector. So from Miami-Dade County Public Schools, Broward County Public Schools, any public entity, the percent of revenue that I've made there, that's what you put into this box. But if it's 0, you can go ahead and put 0 there. Only thing you can't do is leave it blank, right? You do have to fill out this area of the application. And then 2022 and then 2021. And so, like I said, this is your gross receipts that is found on your tax returns. Again, if I haven't made any money from the public sector yet, I'm going to go ahead and put 0. On the other hand, let's say that your company has only been operating for 1 year, right? That means you won't have taxes for 22 or 21. What you can do, you still have to go ahead and select the 3 years for the application so that it does recognize it. But I'm going to go ahead and put 0 in these boxes across, right? So I'll put my 1 year, what my gross receipts was there, even if it's $0.00, still fill it out. And this is for if I've only been in business for 1 year, 22 and 21, if it's 0, or if you haven't been in business, which you probably won't be if you only been operating for 1 year, you just put 0s across the board. Again, these are your gross receipts. You want to make sure it is according to your business tax returns. And so in terms of the forms of business tax returns that we do accept, I'll go through that once we go through our document list. Okay, so that's how you do the gross receipts. And then for this one, we're going to go ahead and speak to the bonding information. So bonding information is tied to construction companies. If you do have bonding, this is where you can fill in that section. But if you don't have bonding in place, you're doing goods and services, you're doing professional services, you can go ahead and select no bonding currently in place. Okay. But if you do have bonding, this is an area where you fill out that information. All right, moving along, save and return to summary. And so that brings us to an end of section 4, which means I'm going to stop sharing my screen here and I'm passing it back to Ms. Elizabeth Chardon for Q&A number 2.
So, Mr. Bryan, unfortunately, I can't see the questions on my end.
Okay. All
I
right,
want to
so
help you out there and answer some of
think
these,
you
but
have to
maybe I
wait
can
for a
answer if you
second.
ask, and we can work together on that.
all right, so the last question that we received was, and this is Mr. Javier again, do you recommend us to do this application as well? Yes.
Oh, okay, I
Um,
did see that one. Okay, I didn't know there was more, so thank you, Mr. Bryan. So I did tell him that, yeah, we do recommend that we do that you do that application. Again, if it's a construction company, if you're a construction company for pre-qualification, but also, yes, we recommend that you are certified. You still, as you saw the benefits at the beginning, there's a lot of benefits tied into that as well that would benefit you. And I also put in the chat because somebody did ask earlier, and I was proactive and entered it in there that if, and we'll mention it later, that you will be able to RSVP and join us on our next technical business boost, which is a face-to-face on 11/5. So I put that information in there as well.
all right, thank you, Ms. Chardon.
I didn't know there was more questions and maybe I was missing some, so thank you.
No, we took care of it. That was the last one that I saw there. And then looks like Ms. Howard is working with Mr. Javier for the pre-qualification. Okay, so we're almost at the finish line. So I'm going to share my screen again. And then, all right, so we've done all the sections, and now we are going to complete the document list. So there's a fill in here. And so the first document is an affidavit of certification. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. So let me download it. Can you see this okay? Perfect. All right. So this is our affidavit of certification. Where it says school board vendor number is that 6-digit number we talked about once you've completed the vendor application. And then on this line, referred to as applicant, this is going to be the company name here. So this is how you fill it out. You'll put your company name, and then where it says business enterprise owner's signature, that's going to be the owner of the company. Type the name or print name, and then the title. This document does need to be notarized. We won't be able to accept it without the public notary. And so this is the only document that needs to be notarized for this application. Okay, so that's the affidavit of certification. And then let's exit out. And we're going to move on to the next document, which is Florida driver's license for all owners. So if you have more than one owner in the company, we do need a Florida driver's license for all owners. And so it does need to be a current driver's license, not expired. And so that's where you go. And so just in terms of how we attach things to the application, you just simply click on attach, and then you can drag it from your screen or your USB, wherever you have the documents for the company. Okay. Current lease, purchase agreement, copy of warranty deed to show ownership of property. So the current lease or the warranty deed is where you're operating the business from. So let's say that I've been in business for 1 full year and I'm operating the business from a lease space that I've leased out in Brickell, right? What I'll do here is I'm going to attach the lease agreement between me and the leaseor. I want to make sure that it is an active lease, that it's signed by both parties and it's duly executed. And then I'm going to attach that right here to this requirement where it says current lease. Let's say that I am working from home and I own the home. What you're going to do there is attach a copy of the warranty deed from your home. And then in furtherance of that, you need to create what's called a home operating letter. What the home operating letter is, it's basically the owner of the home giving permission for the business to operate from the home. And it could be simple. You have a company letterhead on there. You can say that my name is Eric Bryant. I'm the owner of 400 wherever my home is located, and I give authorization for XYZ business to operate all business activities from the home. Sign it, and then I'm going to attach that in addition to the warranty deed showing ownership of the home to this requirement. So again, we do allow home operating letters as well as you to operate the business from the home, but we need to see some type of ownership of that current space, and also the home operating letter which authorized the business to operate from that space. Okay. The next document we're asking for is proof of business structure. So this will be in articles of incorporation or stock certificate or corporate meeting minutes. Either one works perfectly fine. I know a lot of people put their articles of incorporation, but either one works fine. Articles of incorporation, stock certificate, or corporation meeting minutes. Either one works fine. Okay. The next one is a birth certificate or U.S. passport. It doesn't need to be both. But let's say that you are applying for the Minority Women Business Enterprise or the Minority Program, and let's say you're Hispanic American, but you were born in the U.S. and you're submitting your U.S. passport, but you don't have, and let's say your nationality or your origins is from Cuba, and you don't have on your passport that you were born in Cuba, it just says New York City. What we're going to require there is a birth certificate, and then we can look to the birthplaces of your parents. So let's say your parents were born in Cuba. That's how you are attaching your Hispanic American heritage based off your parents. We can see that on your birth certificate. And then let's say your passport does have that you were born, let's say in Venezuela or born in Puerto Rico. We can use that to determine your ethnicity. That the reason for the birth certificate or passport is the document we use to confirm ethnicity. Okay, so it could be either or, but sometimes it has to be both depending on the way your passport or birth certificate is set up. All right, that's that requirement. The next one is where you're going to tax your corporate federal tax returns. Again, if you've been in business for 3 years, we need the most recent 3 years of business taxes. If you haven't been in business for 3 years, let's say only 1 year, then we need to see that 1 year of business tax returns. I know a lot of people ask, do we have to attach the whole tax documents? I know it's like sometimes over 100 pages. What we need are the first 5 pages. We need to be able to see the grocery receipts. Let's say you're attaching Form 1120 or 1120S for a corporation. We need to see the first 5 pages. Typically, the first 5 pages has the grocery receipts on there, as well as the Schedule L. The Schedule L is important because we use that to determine the net worth of the company, and the net worth applies when you're applying for our minority business program. And we went over this in a previous slide. The net worth does have to be 5 million or under. It cannot exceed the $5 million threshold. Okay. And the way we determine that is based on your Schedule L from your 1120, or let's say you're submitting a 1065 form. That's probably a partnership form. That does also include a Schedule L and the grocery receipts, and that's why we ask for the first 5 pages. Another form of taxes that we receive is the Form 1040, which is your W-2 personal taxes. What we require there is that you attach your Schedule C. The Schedule C is specifically for your business. So what we want to see on your Schedule C is the name of the company, your EIN number, as well as the gross receipts of the company. Okay. So that's the tax documentation. Again, if you've been in business for more than 3 years, we want to see the last 3 years of taxes. If 1 year, we want to see at least 1 year of the business taxes. We cannot process your application without taxes. All right. There's exceptions for almost everything here, except of the passport or birth certificate and the taxes, as well as the business bank card. All right. So that speaking of the business bank card, that's the next requirement. We need a copy of your bank signature card or a letter from the bank speaking to the authorized users on the account. In terms of, let's say you want to do your business bank card and it's a Chase card, we're not concerned about the number of the card. What we want to see is the company name as well as the majority owner name and a valid expiration date. So that's what we're looking for the business bank card. If it's a business bank letter, we want to see the name of the bank. We want to see that the majority owner is an authorized signer on there, as well as the EIN number, and that the account is actually open and current. Okay, that's that requirement. The next one is an occupational license or a business tax receipt, and that's from the county. So if you're operating in Miami-Dade County, then we need to see that from Miami-Dade County. Or if you're in Palm Beach County or in Broward County, we do need to see an active local business tax receipt. On that local business tax receipt, it does say that it expires September 30th of each year. So the one that we're looking for now is September 30th, 2025, right? And so that's the local business tax receipt requirement. The next document is a statement of owner duties within the business. So let's say that I'm the only owner in the company. What I'll do there is create a company letterhead letter again. And then I'll just say that my name is Eric Bryant. I'm the majority owner of company XYZ. And my duties within the company are I do the marketing, I do the purchasing, I do the hiring, the firing, all my duties within the company. It doesn't need to be signed, but we do need to see the duties within the company. Okay. And if it's more owners in the company, we do need to see the duties of each owner. I also want to go back to the birth certificate or passport. If it's multiple owners in the company, we do need to see that for each owner. Okay. So if there's multiple owners in the company, we need to see the birth certificate or passport, as well as the driver's license and statement of owner duties for all of the owners. Okay, that's vital. That's important. All right. And so the next document is your resume. It can be a personal resume. What we're looking for is your work experience, your business experience, that it matches with the services that you're wanting to provide the district. Okay, so that's vital there. You attach your resume. The U.S. passport or foreign-born naturalization if you're not a U.S. citizen. So this is a duplicate from the birth certificate or passport, so you can attach the same document in both places. That's the requirement there. And then lastly, for the mandatory documents is your operating agreement. If you don't have an operating agreement, we can accept your articles of incorporation or your stock ledger or your corporation minutes as well. So that's something that you want to attach. The required documents at the bottom, most of these are duplicates from the top. So what I recommend is marking those as not applicable. And so this is the gross receipts again. You don't have to duplicate it. You can just mark it here. Birth certificate or passport, naturalization form, we've already attached it at the top. Professional license. So this is a document you want to attach if you're applying for construction, general contracting, architect, plumbing, or even if you have a certificate of competency, let's say most painters have that, this is the area where you can attach that document directly to the application. If you don't have that document, again, you can mark as not applicable. And then lock in. If you're applying for veteran status, Ms. Gorey spoke about this earlier. We do require a DD 214 that comes from the Department of Veteran Affairs or the U.S. Department of Defense. And so that's where you attach your DD 214, and that's how we determine your veteran status. Okay. If it doesn't apply, go ahead and mark it. And then documentation for services related to disability. This is equivalent to the DD 14. If none of these apply, we're going to go ahead and check this box to market, and then we're going to lock in the bottom. Okay. And so that's how you complete the documentation. Again, the only thing you're doing is just dragging and attaching. And so if you have questions or you need assistance with the documentation, our office does provide hands-on, step-by-step processes, and we'll be able to guide you through the documents as well. That applies to every part of this application. Okay, and so we're going to go to return, and then once you're completed, all of these sections will show up green, right? If there's a red there, then you have to go back and see what's holding up the application. And once all of these do show up green, the last step is signing and submitting the application. Okay, you're going to sign and submit the application, and then once it's submitted, we'll be able to see the application in our system. We will be able to process the application. If we have questions or need any additional information from you, we will go ahead and reach out to you directly. Okay. And so let me stop sharing my screen, and then I'll turn it back over to Mrs. Chardon, and we will continue with the webinar.
Thank you, Eric. What a great job. There is just one question here by Miriam that I'm going to answer, and it's pretty much once I begin the application process and I'm missing a document, will I have to stop before I can continue? So Miriam, good question. No, you can actually continue on with your application all the way to the end. If there is a document or an area that you're just not 100% certain, although you can call us at any time, once you go ahead and enter it, or if you're missing anything and you submit your application, we will get back to you if you're missing anything or if we have any questions. We're not going to deny an application just because it's missing something. We will call you to clarify. So no need to worry or no need to stop. If you happen to be looking at our webinar on a weekend and you really want to just work on your application, go ahead and continue to do so. And we will be able to get back to you once the next open of business day, or contact you if you're missing anything. That was a good question. So that's pretty much the only question we had. Mr. Bryant did such a good job going over this in detail. And again, guys, this is going to be uploaded on our site, so you'll be able to go back and work on this slowly. But in addition to that, every month we offer a technical business boost face-to-face support. Not only will the certification team be there, but also the pre-qualification team. Ms. Howard will be there as well to assist. So if you are interested in coming, we have one every month. Our next one is this Tuesday. I know it's election day, but you can go ahead and come in at 10. If you're there on time, we usually get everybody done pretty early, fairly early. Mr. Brian and our team are there to go over the process he just went through. Some people come in and they're just so quick at it that we could just sit with them one-on-one, but there's plenty of support. So if you're interested, make sure that you email either Mr. Bryant or Ms. Howard, and we will be more than happy to RSVP you into the event. If you can't make it in November, reach us. We will give you one-on-one support here, or we'll let you know of our upcoming one in December. Next slide. So what's next? We are going to be having more episodes and more webinars. We're creating a video library on our webinar series that will be on our website. So a lot of people have been asking about bidding opportunities. We will be having our next episode. It'll probably be Mr. Bryant as well, and some more of our team members talking about how you can look up solicitations coming up, how you can look up bidding, and how you can actually get to training on how to work on these bids, right? But basically where you can look those up or when there's bids coming up, We'll be having that episode as well. Episode 3 is going to be on resources and support. So Mr. Junior Anderson from our team will be doing a webinar on the Supplier Development Program. It's a very, very good program that a lot of businesses are very interested in attending and reviewing. And then we're also going to have our big one, our pre-qualification for construction companies on episode 3. That will be by Ms. Christine Howard and myself and the team. So we'll be able to not only give you, like we said, the face-to-face support, but also these webinar series that you can just go back and review on your own, and we can walk you through the process for all of them. Next slide. And at this time, I'd like for any attendees or vendors that are on the line, if you could please take out your phones and please share your experience with this webinar and with our support so far. We really like to hear your feedback to be able to add or edit any areas in which we can accommodate or support you even more. So please take out your phones. It's a quick survey just to let us know how we did. So I'll give you a moment to do that. And then I'm going to ask you to keep your phones out for one more thing before we close out on the webinar. Okay, and I think hopefully everyone was able to capture that survey. And now for the next slide, while you have your phones out when you're done with the survey, we would all love for you to go into Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram and follow us. Follow us. We have a lot of information, outreach events, anything coming up or anything that we are doing, we will be posting on there continuously. So this is the best way to contact us via social media. There's our phone number that's directly to the office for any questions that you have. Please feel free to contact us. We're very excited that you joined us on our very first webinar series for the certification application process, and we look forward to having you join us for future webinars in addition to. So make sure to go into our website, oeea.dadeschools.net, to look for all the information Mr. Bryant was going over and also for these webinar series. Thank you. And Mr. Bryant, if you'd like to say anything before we let everyone go.
Yeah, thank you all for joining. I know it's a lot of information, but we're very hands-on. We can schedule a Zoom or in person, or even over the phone, help you with the application. I know it seems like a lot of information, but once we get on the phone with you, it's pretty straightforward. So we look forward to you joining us as a certified vendor and also working with the district. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, everyone, and this ends our webinar series.